These are a wonderful grab-and-go breakfast option. Not only do they have the protein in it to keep you full longer, but by making them ahead of time, you can actually save money by not having to grab breakfast on the go. So come on in and I'll show you how. Hi friend, come on in. I have 2 bananas I am working on from the freezer. So these are going to be very squishy. They shouldn't require too much mashing with a fork, but if you are using a fresher banana than mine, you will need to mash it up with a fork. So this might just need a light mash. I'm going to need 1 cup of banana. And they are fresh from the freezer, so they are still quite frozen. Ooh, those are cold. Okay, clean up my mess. Guess I don't need the fork. Get that going. Just going to give it a little chop. This will also help it thaw a little bit more by breaking it up into smaller pieces. I want to put in 1/3 of a cup of yogurt. This is thick style Greek yogurt. If you haven't seen my video for homemade yogurt, then go check it out. That's actually what this is. This is my homemade yogurt that I thickened a lot. Keep the measuring cup, we will need it again. So I want to get that to come together a little bit. Break up my banana a little more. This is crunchy peanut butter. Feel free to use whatever peanut butter you have. I have used just regular Walmart peanut butter in the past. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be natural, although the recipe I was initially following calls for natural. I don't know that it really matters. I have used just the regular Walmart stuff and it worked fine. I'm just trying to use this one up. We do tend to shop a lot on clearance, and peanut butter saves really well in the freezer. So if you buy clearance peanut butter that's about to expire and you just put it in your freezer, it will keep for a long time. I mean, it'll basically keep indefinitely. I've never had a problem with frozen peanut butter going bad. You just have to be mindful of the dates when you thaw the peanut butter. So this is the protein aspect of the muffin. It does not require protein powder, which is one of the reasons why I like this recipe. I don't have to have a special ingredient in my house that I don't use very often. But I always have peanut butter. I feel any nut butter can work with this. I think that peanut butter and bananas are a combination that a lot of people are familiar with, but if you didn't grow up with peanut butter, you're obviously not familiar with that. Feel free to use a different nut butter. So cashew butter is pretty mild. Almond butter is a bit of a stronger flavor, but it could work as well. And there is sun butter, so it's sunflower seeds, so you could use that as well if you're going for the ultimate anti-allergen ingredient. And finally, let's get some sugar in here. It calls for a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, which I don't have. If you followed my videos, you'll know I don't keep brown sugar in the house. And it calls for 1/3 of a cup of white sugar. I'm just going to do a scant half because that's what I have. I don't keep brown sugar in the house because it goes bad. If you've ever had brown sugar get hard, you know what I'm talking about. It's not that it goes bad, it just goes hard. It's really easy to make brown sugar when you're baking. It's also really easy just to make homemade brown sugar, period. If you want a video on that, I can do that, but it's not something I normally make. It's basically you add white sugar with some molasses to a stand mixer and let it mix it all up. But what I normally do is I just add molasses to what I'm making as part of the liquid component. And I'll probably add, that was a bit more, but I'll normally add about 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons. That was probably closer to 2, honestly. But that is what gets you your brown sugar. There you go, instant brown sugar. We need 2 eggs, so add them one at a time, give a mix, make sure they're incorporated. We're going to add about 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Yes, I'm just eyeballing it because that's just the way I roll. And I gotta smash the bananas a little bit more, apparently. I want a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. This is my coarse salt, although I did finally break out the mortar and pestle and ground it down a little bit, so hopefully it won't be quite so bad. I'm going to get that mixed in. At this point, I'm going to mix it in really well because I know mine's a little on the coarse side and it's going to need a little bit of help. The next ingredient is 1.5 cups of Wow, let's just throw the lids. 1.5 cups of flour. This is actually how I do my, I don't know if you watch other cooking shows where they do the mise en place and all that. I just take the ingredients out and lay them out. I don't put them in special containers and try to make it all cutesy and stuff. It's just, I gotta wash all those containers. I'm not doing that. 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And I will have the recipe as a card that you can just screenshot and down in the show notes below. Don't feel like you have to copy it down as we're going. Finally, this should be the last ingredient. Put in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. My cinnamon is a little on the, it's been in the cupboard for a little bit, so I'm sort of making it a generous teaspoon. That is all of the ingredients that bring the muffin together. At this point, you can put add-ins in. If you like nuts and you want to boost the protein, that is a great way to do that. I am making these for my daughter, and I'm not sure if she likes nuts in her muffin. We've never tried muffins with nuts in it before. Now's not a good time to experiment. I will be just throwing in some mini chocolate chips because, hey, you know, kids, they love chocolate. That is what I will be putting in for this. You can leave it plain. It's fine. These, you're making them for you. You know what you like, so you go ahead and put in what you want. You don't want to stir it a ton, but you want to bring it together. So I'm going to put in about 3/4 cup. Put in what you want, what works for you. There you go. 3/4 cup. That'll make her happy. This will go into a 350-degree oven for about 18 minutes. Then you let it cool for a few minutes before taking it out of the baking sheet. There are lots of different ways to fill a muffin tin. I am going to use an ice cream scoop, a cookie scoop, whatever you call them. It does make it a little less messy. Now I fill them up pretty full. It says it makes 12, but I feel like every time I've made this, I could technically get 13 or 14 out of it. Your mileage may vary. I end up just sort of overstuffing the muffin tins a little bit and stick with 12. That way I'm not running the batch, trying to run twice through the oven. Because these are all the muffin tins I have. Divide the last bit of it up and in it goes. So obviously your oven may vary from my oven, so make sure you check it frequently towards the end so it doesn't get overdone. But when you insert a toothpick, it should come out with maybe a crumb or 2 on it, and that's it. And the lovely thing about these is they freeze really well. I normally take them out of the silicone case because I find that sometimes it makes the bottoms a little on the soggy side. So I will take them out after they have cooled a little bit, and that will allow them to dry, and then I find that they're not quite so gummy. If you know, you know. And I will show you how they look when they come out of the oven. Wanted to show you how the muffins turned out. This is how they turned out. And let's do an inside shot so you can see they're nice and moist and cakey. Lots of chocolate chips. Just depends on how many add-ins you want to add. This is a really nice muffin. The peanut butter taste is there, but it's subtle. And it's a really nice, subtle taste of the muffin. This is a really nice make-ahead breakfast. They freeze well and they thaw great. Very grab and go for whatever your needs. I hope you give this a recipe a try, and thanks for watching.